Once upon a time, there was a king who had a very wise minister. This minister always used to say that everything happens for a good reason. One day, the king was cleaning his sword while the minister sat beside him. Suddenly, the sword slipped from the king's hand and fell on his foot, cutting off one of his toes. In that moment, the minister said, "Whatever happens, happens for good." The king became very angry upon hearing this and questioned the minister, "How can you say this is good when I've lost a toe?" Filled with rage, the king ordered the minister to be thrown into jail. However, the minister did not feel sad about his imprisonment. As he left for jail, he repeated, "Whatever happens, happens for good." The king was astonished by the minister's words. He couldn't understand how someone going to jail could say that everything happens for good. Time passed, and 2 months later, the king went hunting with his soldiers. While chasing a deer, he wandered deep into a dense forest and became separated from his soldiers. He lost his way and found himself surrounded by a group of tribespeople who lived in that forest. These tribespeople were unaware of the king's identity, and their customs involved sacrificing a human to please their deity. The king pleaded with the tribespeople to let him go, but they couldn't understand his language. They rejoiced and started playing drums, believing they had found a suitable sacrifice. They bathed the king, dressed him in new clothes, adorned him with a flower necklace, and prepared him for the sacrifice. Just as they were about to kill the king, the tribal leader noticed that one of the king's toes was missing. Realizing that an incomplete sacrifice would anger their deity, he commanded them to stop the drums and declared that the king could not be sacrificed. Relieved, the king returned to his palace. Reflecting on his experience, he realized that if his toe had not been cut off earlier, the tribespeople would have killed him. He understood that the minister was right all along, everything happens for a good reason. Filled with gratitude, the king ordered his soldiers to release the minister from jail. He reinstated him as his minister and questioned him about his own suffering during those 2 months in jail. The minister smiled and replied, "My lord, I have always been your loyal minister. If I had not been in jail, I would have accompanied you that day. They spared you when they saw your missing toe, but if I had been there with you, they would have sacrificed me because my body was complete. It was a blessing that I was in jail, as it saved both your life and mine. That's why I always say that everything happens for good." The king realized the wisdom in the minister's words. Sometimes, in our lives, we face difficult and seemingly bad situations. But if we look back after some time, we may find that those events led to something good. Our own judgment is limited, and we cannot fully understand the fairness of events with our limited intelligence. The world operates on the principle of karma: good deeds bring happiness, and bad deeds bring sorrow. If we find ourselves in a sad phase, we should remember that it may be the result of our past actions, and nature is guiding us towards progress by giving us the fruits of our karma. It's essential to remove negative thoughts and believe that nothing truly bad can happen to us. We should always remember that whatever happens, happens for good.